All right, so good afternoon once again, everyone. Welcome to our virtual webinar on project-based learning, a multidisciplinary approach. This is another stimulating session of the Educators Meet Talk, organized, of course, by CREA. Again, welcome, and I also would like to acknowledge the presence of our educators. We have also our curriculum developers, school administrators, professionals, and we also have practitioners, parents, and students. My name is Tichi Ann Baina, a professor from the Philippines, and I will be your moderator for this event. Before we begin, I'd like to go quickly over a few house rules to ensure a smooth and productive session. Please keep your microphone muted unless you are asked to speak. For questions or comments, please use the chat box. We shall have the Q&A after all the presentations are made. Please maintain a respectful and professional environment. All right. So now let's dive into the topic of project-based learning. This innovative approach to education empowers students to take ownership of their learning by actively engaging in real-world projects. Today's webinar focuses on understanding the core principles of project-based learning, exploring the application of PBL in various disciplines, learning strategies for designing and implementing effective PBL projects, and identifying challenges and opportunities in PBL implementation. To kick off our session, I would like to invite Mr. Antonius Barras to deliver the opening remarks. Sir Antonius, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Baina. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody here. I'm Antonius. I'm speaking from Vietnam at this moment. I would like to say hello to all friends here from what I see from Indonesia, for sure, from Brunei, from Malaysia, some from Philippines for sure, Cambodia, and some other countries. I'm very happy to see all educators here. And I think not only educators, school administrator, all people that related and interested in education. I hope this will be a very interesting topic for us to be discussed, especially in the region. Uh, Project-based learning become one of concern in education system and curriculum in Southeast Asia, especially. So Educators Meet Talk, we run every month to discuss hot issues about education from educators. So if you have any interesting idea or issue topic, please drop your email to us, or you can share your thought on our social media as well, and we will respond to you and then try to create this uh, session as well. So Educators Meetup Special Edition is, yeah, as the name is spatial, right? Spatial means is there is a very interesting topic from many point of view. Normally in special edition, we have 4 speakers that come from different countries. I'm so happy here. All of our friends from Cambodia, Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia will share their thought about the project-based learning. And this one will be more integrated. During this session, we will see how the project-based learning can be implemented in language, can be implemented in STEM, science and technology, or in social science. So we open for all educators that interested in project-based learning, and hopefully we can go through for next year, for the new year, the new resolution in education as well. So we are looking for the news from all educators after you implement the project-based learning, what we discussed today. And of course, in the end of the day, project-based learning will come up with the learning product or the learning outcome. We will also have a platform to accommodate all students project that we call ICIA, the International Creativity and Innovation Award, that will be happening in Ho Chi Minh City next year in April. So that's one of the reason I'm here to set up everything. And also, we also have another session that we call International Kids Conference that will be in November, that accommodate all projects of our students. So please uh, take a note and get notified for all of the updates. And if you are interested to be a speaker, please drop an email to us. You can share your CV. We will review it. We will try to discuss more with our team and also our partners, and we will make the session together. Hopefully, this session really give us a meaningful insight of the project-based learning. Once again, thank you so much for all educators that sharing today, Wahyu, Tony, Jomar, and also Mardimpu. Thank you so much for sharing, and also Dr. Baina, and also all of the team that make this session happen. Enjoy.
Thank you, Sir Antonius, for your insightful remarks. Sir Antonius, I believe, is also a renowned expert in educational innovation and has extensive experience in implementing the PBL. Your passion for PBL is truly inspiring. All right, I guess we're all set to listen to our eminent speakers. Now let's welcome our first speaker, a lecturer at Sanata Dharma University and Korea representative, Miss Wayo Vida Sari. Miss Wayo will be sharing her expertise on the topic, understanding project-based learning. Let us give a virtual round of applause for Miss Wayo.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Um, as Dr. Baina already introduced me, my name is Wahyu Widasari. In Indonesia, usually all my friends call me by my first name, but then internationally or especially my Filipino friends, they will using my middle name to call me. It's okay for me, but I'm not really happy if somebody call me Sari. It's not really me. So this afternoon, I would like to share about my experience. Also, I think because I become the first speaker in here, so I will introduce kind of what is the project-based learning, etc. And I will put some experience regarding my teaching in the university or when I'm mentoring some small students from elementary until high school in PBL. If you see in here, I have two legs in here. I'm a lecturer, permanent teacher in Sanata Dharma University. I saw some of alumni of Sanata Dharma that already being a teacher already joined with us in here. I greet them because they already spread around Indonesia. And I'm also the representative of Kriya and Teman Belajar is kind of Teman Belajar also we use project-based learning as well. And then I will have maybe here in the first slide, I put one of the picture about the book that written by me and Kriya teams about our um best practice to helping and then not helping. I think I don't like to use the word helping. The when we accompanying and encourage students to do their project base, especially during the pandemic era, and then when in Indonesia launched curriculum, the Merdeka Belajar of Freedom Learning, and then they try to implement PBL on it. And then this is the book that request from Canisius publisher that we try to do our best to put our kids, our lesson plan, and also what kind of reflection after do the project base in our experience in Korea. And then maybe later on, I will also share a bit about the understanding about the project-based learning in Sanata Dharma University, because I'm teaching in a Faculty of Education, and under me is the students from elementary teacher training program. So after they graduate, they become teacher in the elementary school, and it's quite difficult to them actually to understand what is the project-based learning, and then what is the problem-based learning, what is the inquiry learning. So somehow they mix up, and then like in Indonesia, we have the metaphor, apapun makanannya, minumannya teh botol sosro. So it's a kind of everything you eat, and then in the end we will just drink the tea like that. Or in the Philippines, everything you eat, after that you drink Coke like that. So uh, usually the students will use the approach like they put in the lesson plan, I will use the project-based learning, I will use inquiry. But after in the implementation in the classroom, it's just the same. They greeting the students, they do the project together, and after that they put, or they're asking the students, and then they do the assignment. So just like that. It's not, I think it's not the project-based learning that we want to talk about this afternoon. After me, maybe Tony and Jomar, they have really insightful from different field. But now I will talk about project-based learning in education field. So, what is project-based learning actually? In my understanding, if I learn from some books or some journals, they thought that project-based learning is a model. Some of them will say it's an approach. Another will say it's a method. So which one actually? It's okay for me as long as you understand the context. If you say it become approach, meaning to say it's really broad, in the you're not only doing it in one time, but it become your approach in during all the semester, for example, like that. But then if you want to put it as a method, you can just put it in one time teaching in the classroom, because I would like to emphasize this is the education field, like the for the teacher. If you said project-based learning as an approach, it will be the whole teaching of your teaching in the one semester or in 1 year. All the syllabi will be using project based. But then if you only put it as an method, you can just put it a simple way, one time like that. So if model is kind of approach. So this is the learning where students engage in complex tasks and project based on challenging question or problem. So I would like to emphasize in here, students engage, and then in the complex tasks. And after that, we will see in the benefit why we need to give them a complex task. But then the complex tasks also come from the students, especially like in here, the teacher become as a director, or we call it sutradara in Indonesia, or we call it dalang in the puppet show, or we call it also facilitator only. uh, we have already our plan, but we will not delivering it clearly to the students. We just give them the hint or the clue, so the students really can go through it, and then they try to engage in every activity that will be given in the classroom. And challenging questions or problem. So this is the big question when I usually being advisor for my students, that they try to make the final thesis about project-based learning. Usually I will ask, who will give the problem? You the problem of the world, or the students find their own problem, or actually we already have the problem, directly give to them? Which one that will suitable with this context? So in project-based learning, the right one, the problem, the students are the one that find the problem. So usually when we deliver the project-based learning approach, we will give the inspiring session first. For example, we show them the video, we show them kind of real world problem, I know actually we have the hidden problem that we will deliver, but we will hold it until the students try to find it by themselves. And then this is the what interesting when I saw my students doing the intern in the schools, and they try to implement the PBL. Sometimes they don't have passion on that, and then they just deliver. Today our project will solve this problem. So they give the challenge already, and then the students don't have time to reflecting, or they don't have tried to research about what kind of problem actually that the teacher want to talk about. And then this approach also involves recurrent cycles of analysis, synthesis, action, and reflection, allowing students to actively participate in their learning process. No, so this is sometimes that the teacher also, especially teacher wannabe, forget to have a reflection after all the things done. So after the kids can do the project, they directly give the assignment or assessment, and after that give the grade and done all. So in here, I saw in my experience sometimes teacher miss out on that. And then this project-based learning aims to create realistic contextualized problem-solving environment that bridge the gap between classroom learning and real-life experience. And yes, I remember in the our new curriculum in Indonesia about freedom learning the past few years, that we try to connecting what happened in the classroom with the real world experience. But then right now we saw also kind of lack, or kind of the students that not really getting all the lesson, or we call it lost learning. I don't know it's because of the pandemic or because of the implementation of project based learning that not in the right way. Why on that, I will put it in the last of my presentation. So, uh, what is the key features in here, or the things that we need to understand, that PBL is one of the student-centered approach. So the students will be our main things in the classroom, not the teacher. And then we also can doing it with inquiry base. So the students they have hand-on activity, they have experience to do something uh together with friends, or even though individually like that. And then it will we need to understand it should be real world relevance. Then why we do PBL, what kind of benefit that we'll get if we implement PBL in our classroom. So this approach will help the students to have more, or being more critical in the thinking and problem solving skills. And then because usually we will doing it in the group or pairing, or also we do collaboration with the other students, so it will promote collaboration and communication. Of course, it will encourage creativity and innovation. I know that Tony will really emphasize on that. And then enhance engagement through authentic learning experience. I really love this part, through authentic learning experience, because in the project-based learning, usually that we do in Korea, um, we come from the problem that students already have, and then how they try to solving it and bring it in the real society. And then if we see in here also, project-based learning will really engage, or we're really connecting with 21st century skill, and then in-depth inquiry and reflection revision. Okay. Um, how the syntax of project-based learning, or the step we do the project-based learning, I want to doing it quickly in here. So mostly if we use in the classroom, we will use minimum 5 step this one, the step that you need to do in your project-based learning activity in the classroom. The first, what's the problem that's to be solved, and then how the students can give idea, and then by doing the brainstorming on it, and then what is the prior knowledge to guide the students. So it's actually we will do the constructivism in here, and then we do research and experiment, hands-on activity in inquiry and investigation, and then the last thing is presentation and feedback. But I will compare it. In Korea, we really make it a package from the working cycle of project-based learning. We only make it into 3 steps. Actually, this is like we make it compact, no, for the syntax that usually other journals or book given to us. We do inspiring session. In inspiring session, usually where we guide the students to get the problem from their real experience. So we actually include the experiential learning and constructivism in this part. um, and after that, the kids will be encouraged to ideating and visualize their idea before they make the creation or hands-on activity. And then they do the activity under our guidance, but then usually they the one that have the raw idea, they the one that have the raw materials, and then we are the educators in here. They will put themselves, or they bracket themselves as a facilitator and mentors only. And then in this part, we will encourage the students not only to presentation, usually in the classroom, in the school, uh, problem-based, project-based learning will be in the exhibition in the intern, the classroom, and then they will doing kind of presentation. But then in Korea, we try to push the students, we try to encourage them to beyond that. So beyond the classroom, the we call it dedication. So they showcase their idea, they showcase what they're finding there. For example, Anton mentioned that we have ICIA, we have International Kid Conference, and other competition or other co-opetition that we have. So once again, here our goal not to make the students to become the winner or the number one, no, but they really connecting what their idea in the head, and then what they already make with their hand, and then they will giving it to the society through their presentation outside or beyond the classroom. So this kind of idea that I like to doing it both in the classroom and in Korea. So, okay, I have one video to share. Do I still have time, Dr. Chi?
Yes, Miss Wayu.
Because I only have one video, and after that I close my presentation.
All right.
So this is one of the students that I I I I mentoring her since 7 years old until she is in high school, and she really doing the project from scratch, no, from zero, when she found some problem, and she tried to uh what call of that, to make something on it. Wait, I will make it first.
There is no audio.
It's not audible, ma'am.
Miss Wida, there is no audio.
Then
There's no
I
sound
decided
there.
to make this machine. So this is my prototype. So this is you see the yellow box. So this is the first part. So the first part with the green button is used to keep the food pellets and transfer the food pellets to the container where the hedgehog lives. So if you press it, The food pellets will get out from this part of the machine. Then this is the second part. The second part is used to keep the sawdust and to transfer the sawdust to the container where the hedgehog lives too. The sawdust is used to keep the container where the hedgehog lives dry from the urine of the hedgehog. Then this is the third part. The third part with the blue button is used to keep water and to transfer water from the small hose. So if you press the button, you should press it until full, then the water will transfer to the hedgehog's drinking bottle through this small hose. Then this is the fourth part of the machine. So it used to keep soap for the hedgehog to leave and to bath, and if you this machine can automatically bath the hedgehog. So first thing first, you should put the hedgehog inside this bathtub. Then you should press the blue button until the water tower is full. After that,
Okay, so actually, what my students try to make, he has she has hedgehog at home, and then sometimes he forgot to feed the hedgehog, and one of her hedgehog is patay or dead, no. So she tried to ideating, and then she tried to crafting machine that will automatically with alarm etc to feeding her hedgehog. So that's kind of idea that she has, and then she presenting it in the uh global innovation field trip. So uh her idea spread around the world, and then after that she tried to make it real by make prototype etc. So in the project based learning that we emphasize in Indonesian curriculum, usually we will come out with the prototype, meaning to say something that already done, even though it's just small prototype for the students. But then we have also in Korea some students that already make it really nice product. But I didn't have the video with me, but we have like that. So to end my presentation, last but not last is because I want to give questions for all of us to reflect. So not only the audience will give me question, but I will give question. Maybe the other presenter will be the one that answering the question. Uh, since PBL transform learning by connecting classroom content to real world application, and it empowers students to become lifelong learners and active problem solver. But then I'm asking to all the teacher in here. Do we still need to give students to learn by memorizing something? Because right now, if you see in TikTok, you see in the Instagram reels, extra, we saw that some students in Indonesia, even though they're already in junior high school, they cannot understand multiplication, they cannot memorize multiplication. After we implement the freedom curriculum that using PBL actually. And then how to connect the PBL to all the lesson needed, because we cannot just put it in science, etc., but we need to put it together with uh other lesson, and how we doing it nicely. This is become our reflection for this evening. Thank you so much, Ma'am Tichi.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wayo, for your very enlightening presentation. Indeed, the implementation of the PBL in real-world context really makes learning more relevant and meaningful, right? Okay, so I think Ms. Wida tries to make us understand the core principles of PBL. Thank you so much. All right, so our next speaker is a multilingual learning specialist. Let us welcome with virtual applause Ms. Jomar Conde, as he will be discussing the topic leveraging PBL to enhance language acquisition and communication skills. Mr. Conde, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, very loud and clear, sir.
Okay. So it's still afternoon in Cambodia. That's why I'm saying good afternoon. But in wherever you are, thanks for coming and thank you for the speakers who will also be sharing their insight, and also to Miss Wayu who already shared her insights. I'm Jomar B. Conde, and I've been in Cambodia for the third of my life. But originally I'm from the Philippines. So I came across PBL when I was the program coordinator of CIA First International School. And after that, as a deputy campus director for AI Language Center with handling 120 teachers, 3,000 students. And both of them are implementing PBL at the time for CIA, and then for AI Language Center up until now. So I'll be sharing my slides to you guys so that we can get it started. Let me just go over it quickly. Don't worry, I'll be sharing my slides, my contact, and then also my Telegram if you want to connect with me through Telegram. So let me just go and quickly search for my presentation. I think it's okay. I'm still searching for my presentation, or I have a lot of windows and tab open. So let me can you see my slides now?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet, okay. So let me just open a new link, and then sorry for the hiccup. Let me just open it here and then start. Okay. Yeah, let me just share my entire screen then, because it's not working well. I have a lot. Okay, so can you see it now? Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. So my topic is PBL and language, and the specific topic that I'll be discussing is leveraging PBL to enhance language acquisition and communication skills. To begin with, I would like to walk you through the agenda of my discussion. So I have 8 points to cover, but the first one and then the second one, and including the third one, will be just a quick run through since Ms. Has already discussed number one, especially the definition. So I'll go next to this one. This point is something that I would like to emphasize because for, if not some of the teachers, few of them still cannot draw a fine line between projects and project-based learning because there is a big difference when it comes to project and saying that it's project-based learning. It's clearly shown here in the table, but to put it in a nutshell or to put it simply, project-based learning happens through the project. It's student-driven, it's inquiry-based, and focuses on developing a deep understanding of concepts. So in project-based learning, the process is as important as the product. and it often involves real-world problem and multiple revisions. Whereas, whereas when you say project, it is typically after the learning. So again, PDL happens through the project typically comes after the learning. And then it's teacher driven, it focuses on applying knowledge of what the students have learned, and usually it has a fixed outcome in mind. I mean, the students has a fixed outcome in mind. The elements of PBL, there are 5 elements or pathways. We have inquiry and exploration, authenticity, collaboration, reflection, and reflection.
Excuse me, sir. Are you already sharing something on screen?
Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
am.
it's just speared white on our end.
Okay, let me share it again. Okay, thank you for
Thank
telling
you.
me. Okay, that is happening with this. Oh, no, 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 not this one. I already prepared the slide, but something is up today. Okay, let me just share my entire screen again and see whether it's gonna work. How about now? Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, so again, I would like to emphasize on this one. That's why I'm just discussing the difference between project and project-based learning. The pathways or the elements of project-based learning are as follows: inquiry and exploration, authenticity, collaboration, reflection, revision, and public product, as already mentioned by Ms. Wayu. So talking about the role and importance of PBL, well, I'm going to talk about in the context of language. Okay, project-based learning is important in language education because it immerses students in authentic, meaningful contexts where language is used purposefully. So when you say purposefully, it has an exact intent or specific goal, particular for language. And through collaborating projects, students can practice communication skills, expand their vocabulary, and engage in critical thinking while solving real world problems. Now, TBL is really good in activating the use of the language because, in TBL, it covers all language modalities. It covers reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Say, for example, in one part of the project's process, research, they're required to read. For example, in creating a prototype or uh, solution to a particular problem, they're required to collaborate, they're required to speak, they're required to communicate. That's why, as I said, it covers all language modalities. And when that happens, it will allow the learners to apply their knowledge in dynamic and practical ways. And then, PBL, it emphasizes on inquiry, feedback, and revision. So when there's thorough feedback here and there during the process, it would, in turn, foster linguistic accuracy and fluency over time. Because, you know, you will be just there on the side as a teacher. Again, you are not the wisest animal in the room. So you'll just be giving them some tips on this particular instance. For example, the students are creating um, itinerary for a particular travel or trip. So they will just ask us, teacher, is it okay to say like this? Is it the right way to ask if I wanted um, to know a particular history of this particular landmark? So that's what I mean by over time there's fluency because there's constant feedback from the teacher. And then the feedback in PBL does not only happen when the project or the product is there. During the process, you can assess the student depending on the language objective that you've laid for the class. So that is the role and importance of PBL in language. So the benefits, I would like to focus on number 3 and 4 because again, it has something to do with language. So the third benefit of PBL is enhances language proficiency through practical application. Number 4, fosters deep understanding of cultural context related to the language. So it does not only focus on grammar, sentence structure and all that. It's bigger than that. Now, how can PBL be leveraged? So project-based learning can be a powerful tool to enhance language acquisition and develop communication skill because it provides students with, again, meaningful and real-world context using the target language actively from the beginning, the process, and even during the presentation of what they have. So here's how we can leverage PBL. Number 1, authentic language practice. So PBL create opportunities for students to use the language in real life scenarios, encouraging them to practice speaking, listening, reading, writing in meaningful ways. For example, in a project about traveling, students would practice booking flights, writing itineraries, or presenting their dream trip and stimulating real world interaction. So, what is the benefit of that? Language becomes a tool for communication, not just a subject for the students to study. And when that happens, it increases the motivation of the student and also the retention. So I think even for us adults, um, when we associate a particular learning with a particular experience, we most likely remember it well, or we remember it and then we continue to apply what we've learned. The second to how can we leverage PBL is collaboration and social interaction. So PBL fosters group work because there's collaboration and the students will have the chance to interact with their peers while they're solving the problems. They're able to brainstorm ideas and also create projects. For example, if your project is something about environment, and then the students will discuss solution to pollution, and then they will be dividing tasks, they will create posters, and then they will give presentation. So the benefit of that is that this collaborative setting develops conversation skills, negotiation, sometimes maybe even debate. There's a little bit of disagreement and teamwork, of course. The third how PBL can be leveraged is contextualize vocabulary and grammar. So what I mean by this, as I mentioned before, using the language purposefully with the intent to really dig into that target language objective. Okay, without being too direct about it or without being so traditional about it. So TBL integrates language learning into meaningful context, making vocabulary and grammar more relevant and easier for them to remember, easier for them to interact with. So example, if your project is about healthy living, students can use vocabulary related to food, exercise, wellness, while designing fitness plan, or maybe they are going to decide for a healthy menu. So the benefit of this is that students would understand how words and grammar are used naturally, and it will improve their fluency and accuracy. For example, platform. If your topic is about traveling, then platform could have a different meaning, or station, something like that. So contextualize vocabulary and grammar specific to that particular target language objective or unit that you're covering. The next one, as I mentioned already, it's multimodal communication. The fifth one is real world problem solving skills. So in real world problem solving skills, the students will be required to articulate their ideas clearly and persuasively. For example, your project is about climate change. Students may need to persuade their school or maybe the faculty or maybe their classmate to adopt eco-friendly practices by presenting data and arguments if they are in higher level of course. So with this, it will develop their critical thinking, persuasive communication skills, which is vital in the academic success, but at the same time, they're covering real world problems. And then going back to Ms. Waya's discussion, it is not us, the teachers, who are going to create the project or it's going to create the problem for them. You will be surprised that uh, in a specific project, there's a lot of question from the student's mind. Sometimes as I observed, we will have like 10 questions, sometimes even 20 in one group, and then they will come up into a certain agreement as to what questions, essential question will they be covering, and then what project uh, can be done for that particular driving question. The next and the last one is feedback and reflection. So PBL emphasizes peer and teacher feedback as well as self-reflection. It's not only one-way teacher giving feedback to the students. They will have the chance to reflect on their project or even with their performance. So example, after presenting their project, students receive constructive feedback on their language use or communication strategies, maybe from the teacher, or maybe some of the students would actually notice uh, their uh, their mistakes and the room for improvement that they have to work on. So the benefit of this reflection is it helps the students identify the areas for improvement, enhance their confidence and skills over time. So that is how you can use PBL or you can leverage PBL in the context of language. So what are the strategies when implementing PBL or employing PBL in the classroom? Number one, design authentic and meaningful project. That's very important. So as a teacher, you should ensure that they are relevant and aligned to the students' interests. Because if they're not, then there's less interaction. And if there's less interaction, then it's less meaningful for the students. And they won't remember much of what they did or what they've learned during the process. Projects should reflect real life scenarios where students, again, in the context of language, can apply their language skills. The second strategy is incorporating collaborative learning and student autonomy. This is very important. As I said, you are just guide on the side, you're not the wisest person in the room. So you have to encourage collaboration to foster a sense of community and shared responsibility for learning. With this, it will allow the students to have a say in the project. And, as I observe, when they have a say in their project, they're most likely to be happy doing it and motivated. It makes the learning process personalized and meaningful for them. The third strategy is aligning projects with language learning objectives. Again, in the context of language, it is crucial that the projects should be aligned with specific language learning objectives. For example, going back to the unit about traveling. So your learning objectives in language could be number one, use travel related vocabulary. Number two, write and present travel itinerary. And itinerary using complete sentence structure, something like that. Okay? Because this ensure that the activities not only engage students but also effectively develop their language skills in a structured manner. So please don't forget these three strategies. These are the example. This is the example. Sorry, we have step one. I already divided into step five. So in this part, as you can see, the students are they have the autonomy, and then they have a lot of questions in mind until they come up, brainstorm with one project that they want to have. So in this particular example, as I said, these are grade 5 students uh, planning a dream trip or itinerary. So step one, launch, plan. There are driving questions. Step two, inquiry and research. Step three, create a prototype or solution, feedbacking and revision. So from here, the teacher is just giving some suggestions or some correction when it comes to the language. And then step four is culmination, sharing the final product. And then the last step is to reflect and celebrate. So moving to assessment, these are the three things that we should bear in mind when we are assessing TDL in the language context. Number one, assessing language proficiency and skills development. Again, it's not like a project that you would assess them at the end. So assessment in TDL happens on both the process and the final product. So teachers can evaluate students' language proficiency through their participation, through their collaboration, and the use of language throughout the project. So when they're speaking, when they're sharing, when they're trying to disagree, when they're trying to write, those are parts of assessment during the process. Step, the second thing that I would like to share when it comes to assessment, providing feedback and reflection opportunities. So constructing feedback is essential for students' growth. It's very general across any subjects, even in any curriculum. Constructive feedback is essential. Providing opportunities for the students to reflect, it will allow students to consider their learning process, and they will be more excited to take on more projects and then be, be more motivated to set goals for future projects. It would make them understand the learning process. It would make them feel that the learning process is very fruitful and meaningful for them. The third one is evaluating project outcomes and language use. Teachers should assess the outcomes of the project to determine how well students apply their language skills. This includes, evaluating the quality of the final product and the effectiveness of communication during the product. When I say communication, again, it's not limited to speaking. Okay, it's not limited to one skill. Coming now to the conclusion, incorporating authentic projects through project-based learning significantly enhances language acquisition and communication skill. By designing meaningful projects, fostering collaboration, and aligning with learning objectives, educators can create an engaging and effective language learning environment. Furthermore, employing varied assessment techniques ensures that the students receive valuable feedback, fostering continuous improvement in their language skills. So again, teachers, PBL is not only for a specific subject. You can use it even for even with teaching language. It could be ESL, whatever you call it, EFL or EAL. It could be used. If you want it as an approach, so be it. If you want it as a standard method in the school, then so be it. You can embed it in the curriculum. Up to you entirely. Well, of course, up to the school. But in the classroom, you're in charge. You can use this approach as long as you can achieve that particular goal you have in mind or for the class. Okay. Now I will give you this key takeaway. When learning ignites the head, moves the hands, and steers the heart, it becomes unstoppable. So project-based learning is where all three converge. And teachers, language is not just learned, it's lived. And in PBL, you just don't learn the language. You live to use the language. It's part of the process, something that they will remember not only during that period when they are doing the project, but even after or outside the classroom. So thank you This is my LinkedIn account, my Telegram, and then the slides for today. I hope you gain some insights. I'm not an expert in TBL. These are all experiential insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Conde, for your very informative presentation. Yes, it is indeed great to know these strategies and techniques, right? Assessment techniques in the PBL approach being integrated in the language classroom. All right. So, of course, highlighting authentic language practice and, of course, real world problem solving skills. Thank you very much, Mr. Conde. And now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you our next speaker. All right, so this is another interesting topic on cultivating innovation and problem-solving skills through PBL in STEM. Friends, help me welcome to the virtual floor the founder and CEO of STEM Max, Mr. Pang Nguyen Wang Ping.
Yeah, thank you for the
Sir
very good
Tony.
pronunciation. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I'm glad to see all of you, and hopefully, in 15 minutes, I'm gonna share to you some point of view of what we are doing project-based learning in STEM math, also in Vietnam, and hopefully, I can learn a lot from you as well, in especially PPL. Okay, can I share my screen now? Okay. Okay. So,
It's there.
okay. So, yeah, everyone can hear me and also can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, um, talk about STEM up. Our mission is we try to support the learner with become a self-learner and able to identify and solve problem and make decision for themselves and develop their future career, especially in STEM education. Sorry, in STEM career. So we try to do it with the project-based learning, and also develop the student and the young people with the scientific and engineering mindset, and also help them to see a broader view of the future career by getting them to the real life career, like go to the factory, go to the university, working in the real projects. So today I gotta talk a bit about the project-based learning. Um, Thanks for the introduction from the former presenters. The speaker, we all know about the project-based learning. I would like to introduce here a bit about the gold standard of project-based learning, which partly or wholly mentioned in the previous presentations. So you can get it from the pblworks.org, and you're gonna see this diagram. So there are 7 of the standard. You can see that the project-based learning start with authenticity, authentic problems. Students all have the right to voice to raise their voice and make their decisions. But of course, working in group gonna help them to enhance their collaboration, and together they make the choice together for the group. And then reflection is very important in the project-based learning. Asking question to reflect on what you have done, your performance. Also receive the critics and the revisions uh, positively from the other people, and also reflect on themselves. Public products, which only also mentioned in the previous presentation, and also the sustained inquiry. So these are the gold standard, and it's gonna help the student to develop their critical thinking skill, communication skill, collaboration skill, their creativity, and also they develop their skill in STEM, uh, STEM fields. Okay. And one thing I would like to mention here, so project-based learning, these are the standard, the criteria, and during the project, the student gonna apply the circle of self-regulated learning. So a bit about self-regulated learning process. That means when the student face a new problems, a new challenge, and a new things, how can they manage their learning? How can they know where to start, where they can find information from? how can they analyze the information? How can they start with the planning for studying, and also how can they do reflection on what they have done? And this is the circle of self-regulated learning. So we don't have to be the teachers to be with the student every time. We are the mentor and the facilitator to help the student with this cycle. They can start with the planning. Oh, what I gonna do in this project? What is the outcome, the criteria? Now I'm doing with the plan, and we are the mentor who help them to reflect on their plan, depend on their resources and also their ability and also their criteria. Also, do why they are doing the project. Reflection is very important, as I mentioned, and then they also evaluate the performance according to a scale. So making a scale for evaluation is very interesting things. I hope we have time to discuss about it in another section, and also analyze the task if they successfully uh, finish the task uh, on the project or not. So in the project, we help the student to apply the circle of self-regulated learning, and you can also uh, search for the diagram using the terms on the screen. So here talk about we so in the project-based learning, there are so many fields that we can apply. So in the previous presentation, we see that the student can apply the project-based learning for the English learning, and we also do some research on that. Hopefully, we can have a collaboration in research with the presenters. So I talk here. I talk about EDP, engineering design process. So engineering design process is a procedure that suggests the student what to do if they would like to solve a problems or they would like to conduct a solution for a real life challenge. Not everyone will be the engineer, right? But they can apply the way of thinking from of the engineers to solve their own problems and provide a solution. So there are 8 steps and also a loop here. You can prefer some science-buddies.org. So I would like to talk about these steps. I would like to talk about the 3 step first. So lots of startups here, they found it and they fail because sometimes they didn't start with the real life problem, the authenticity of the problems. So emphasize the people who suffering from the problems, define the problems. What is the real problem that they're gonna solve? It's very important at the beginning of project-based learning. And then they don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? They can learn it from parts, from the existing solutions, from like America, from Indonesia, from Philippines, and they can apply to Vietnamese context. But if they want to apply to Vietnamese context, they need to localize, right? They need to have some criteria from requirement for like specifically for the Vietnamese context. So they need to conduct a specific requirements, a criteria that they're gonna use it while they are doing the project in the later step. Okay, so the 3 very important steps. And then when they have the criteria, they have the resources, they know what to do. They should go in the brainstorming stage. That's why the project-based learning, they need to work in group. Or at least if they would like to do it alone, they need to do the brainstorming with a mentor or facilitator who's gonna give them the reflection as well. So don't eradicate any idea, just collect all of them and do the evaluation and analysis. And then based on the criteria they have conducted, based on the context and also the background of the contest, they're gonna develop a prototype solutions, and then they test it. So they test the solution with the criteria they already set, and also with the readiness of resources they have. And then they see if the solution already met the requirements or not. And if it have not made it, they have to do it again. And the loop here is a very important. So we create the opportunity, the chance for the student to do it again. Very important. So we don't want the student to go through all the steps at once, but we create opportunity for the student to do it again and to do the reflection and apply their self-regulated learning circle, as you have seen in the previous slides. And then even when the prototype met the solutions, met the requirement, they need to have the feedback from the community. That's why communication is very important. They communicate with the people. Maybe they can apply English, their English, and to communicate and get feedback from the community. And from the feedback, they know what to improve their solution. And this step is very important as well. For me, it's gonna be another loop here. So this EDP is engineering design process. And as I mentioned, you can apply the circle of self-regulated learning throughout the whole step of the EDP. And also, in every step of the EDP, the golden standard lies under this step. Okay. So we start with a very authentic problem, and we let the students raise their voice and choice every time. But we need to help them to reflect on the ideas and get it rooted positively from the people, and then keep them with the inquiry based learning in every step of the EDB. So it's gonna help them to develop their mindsets. So talk about why this is real classes that happen in STEM maths. So we have the student doing the project with the professor here, and he work with the professor equally, and they discuss with each other, reflect on the idea. And we help the student with the opportunity to reflect, to work with the expert. And then we also help the student with opportunity to learn for the real life context. For example, here the students studied about a micro organism, and they collected the sample from a canal in Ho Chi Minh City, which is a bit polluted. And they do analysis of the sample in the laboratory. So they go to the river, collect it, and do research on the laboratory. So this is the last part I would like to mention is the involvement of technology in STEM learning and how it can help the student in the project-based learning with the golden standard. So the technology, sometimes the student are very shy and they would not spit it out. So the technology is gonna help them equally have a chance to spit out and share the idea. For example, they can say through Kahoot or their tablet, the mind map or the Zoom. We applied it so the student can share it by writing or drawing, and also the technology is gonna help the student with the planning and monitoring as well. And maybe we can have a group of students from Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, and they work together on the planning stage like that. So they can manage their work together, and they can use the ChatGPT to refine their thinking. ChatGPT won't provide them the solution, but help them to refine their thinking and reflection as well. We can also apply the technologies like AR or 3D printer. Student from Vietnam can send the design file to the student from Philippines, and they're gonna print it out, test it in Philippines, and the student from Vietnam can test the model in Vietnam and compare the results at in one step of the EDB. So technology gonna help us with that. And we can make the most of the technologies in the makerspace as well, because in the makerspace, the student may have enough material and tools to do to fabricate their model. And we help the student go outdoor to test the model like this, the student testing the solar panel system as well. So it's the end of my presentation. I hope my sharing is helpful for you, and it's gonna ignite more questions in the later session. So thank you for that.
All right, thank you very much, Sir Tony, for that very valuable sharing on the topic. And this one gives us gives us compelling ideas on the integration of technology to enhance the PBL experience of the students. Thank you. I believe they have questions for you later. Okay, so now we are already in the last part, or not yet the last part, but I'm going to introduce the last but not the least. Our next speaker will give us another interesting topic on fostering critical thinking and civic engagement through PBL in social science. This will be presented by Mr. Madimpo Siombin, Headmaster of SMAS Mitra Inalum. A virtual round of applause for him, please.
Okay, Dr. Baina, thank you for having me today. Good afternoon, everybody. And my name is Mardim Pusihombing, and right now I'm a headmaster of SMA Mitra Inalum, Batubara Regency from North Sumatra, Indonesia. And nice to meet you all. I hope one day we can meet each others in other conditions. And I hope, pray for all of you. Stay happy and healthy. Okay. Um, okay, Dr. Baina, can you see my slide clearly?
Yes, we can see your
Okay, thank you. Okay, three speakers, Sir Tony and Ms. Vida, and also Sir Jomar. We get so many experience from them, and in these occasions, I can't tell you so many things, but maybe I'm the vital one to tell all of you about my simple practice in implementing project-based learning. So my topics are designing project-based learning uh, in geography using the DIMPU method. Three key points are: one, designing project-based learning that align with social science standards, and the second one, using primary sources and real-world issues in project-based learning, and the third one, assessing student learning in social science PBL projects. From three speakers, we get some experience about implementing project-based learning. And in these occasions, I want to tell all of you why PBL in social science. Why PBL in social science? Because one, encourages active learning and critical thinking. We can see this from the student activity and also from the classroom conditions. We can connect academic content to real world issues and also develop civic responsibility and social awareness. These conditions, we must practice this in our classroom, not only in language, science, but also in social science. This is the cycle of PBL. In the first explanation from Miss Vida, she told us about the cycle of PBL, and we can begin from inquiry, and then we can research, and then collaborations, solutions, reflections, and dedications. Miss Vida told us about dedicating. Why dedicating? Because from planning, evaluating, reflections, the up level of these conditions is how the students to dedicate what they have learned from the teachers in project-based learning. Not only it can impact for their self, but also it can impact from many peoples in society. And how to aligning project with social science standards. First, we can identify core standards, maybe history, geography, economics, civics, and etc. And the second, we can use backward design to plan outcomes. Why? Because it is very important to us as a teachers, because in project-based learning, we can learn from Mr. Jomar explanations about what is the difference between projects and project-based learning. And the third one, how to aligning project with social science standards, create driving questions. How does democracy shape community decisions? So that is why I told to all of you not only how the students plan doing evaluating reflections, but also how the students dedicating not only for their self, but also how they dedicate that to all the people in society. And then what is DINPU method? So I would tell all of you about my simple practice. So this is my the acronyms stands from my name. Yeah, DIMPU. What is DIMPU method? DIMPU method is acronym stands for D, deep analysis, I, introspections, M, motivations, P, project, and U, understand clearly. And it describes us to design to cultivate critical thinking, self-awareness, and actionable knowledge in geography. So this is from my name, and why I choose this method from my name, because I want to make some I want to give my students the inspirations. Uh, all of us can give some inspirations for others by what the simple things what we have done. Okay, and then why use the DINPU method in geography? Geography involves dynamic interactions between people and their environments. So the DINPU method fosters one critical geographic inquiry, second engagement with real issues, and the third one active problem solving and reflections, and then step one deep analysis. So what the step in deep analysis? The first step in deep analysis, investigating geographic phenomena. Teach students to analyze. How students analyze? We can bring the physical geography, such as landforms, climate patterns, and others. Maybe we can teach about human geography. How about migrations, urban development, and etc. For example, task examine the causes and effects of the deforestation in tropical regions. And the second step, introspection. How we describe this phase, this step, introspections tell us about connecting knowledge to personal understanding. How connecting knowledge to personal understanding? Exactly, encourage students to reflect on how geographic issues impact their lives, how geographic they use geographic lessons to be something impact in their lives. And the second, their role in addressing challenges. For example, activity may journal entry on how local urban growth affects their community. And third, step three, motivations. Motivation tell us and describe us about inspiring action through real world relevance. How about this step? Inspiring action through real world relevance. We can build intrinsic motivation by connecting projects to global challenges. Not only intrinsic motivations, but also extrinsic motivations when our students make some idea from this project-based learning. And the second, we can use storytelling and case studies. We can see from climate activisms and also urban resilience in flood-prone areas. So many cases in Indonesia, in your country, you can make others. So you can practice this with your student. Not only my acronym stands for, but also you can use your name, and it can be some motivations, not only motivations, but also can inspire other teachers in your country, not only teachers, but all people. And then step four, project. How to engaging in hands-on learning, we can design collaborative projects. For example, we can drive in question, how can we design a sustainable urban area for our community? So we can give our students the task, research sustainable urban planning, create a prototype or model, and present solutions to local stakeholders and others. So these pictures are me and my students. We discuss about how to build and how to make some project based learning that it can impact for our lives, not only students' life, but also all people. And then step 5, understand clearly. How to create and how to describe this step, understand clearly, describing about demonstrating mastery through reflection. Students share their learning. They present findings in class or their community and write reflections on lesson learned. So for example outcomes, students articulate the importance of sustainable practice in urban design. Okay, and this is for example for all of you how to implementing project-based learning using the DIMPU method for the topic local genius and national culture in Indonesia in the geography subject. So this is the sample timeline for DIMPU PBL from week 1 until week 5. Week 1, the activity Introduction to Local Genius and National Culture. This is the deep analysis in the input stage. And week 2, activity, data collections and reflection activities. This is the introspections in the input stage. In week 3, motivations, guest speaker and case studies. So we can invite the guest speakers, maybe teachers from other schools, maybe parents, maybe the people among us, and also who we will invite to be a guest speaker and based on our topic and also in our subject, especially in my subject in geography in topic implementing project-based learning using the DIMPU method for topic local genius and national culture in Indonesia, especially in North Sumatra. So in week 4, the activity collaborative project work, digital exhibit design, and this is the project in DIMPU stage. And in week 5, the presentations and reflections, this is the understand clearly in DIMPU stage. So you can explore this simple practice in my social media, in my Instagram account at dimpu_shb. You can see how my students implementing this activity from week to week and from stage to stage, and we get so many deep learning from these conditions. And then how about assessment? Assessment framework for the PBL project. The first one, assessment instrument. I have 5 criteria from content quality, creativity, teamwork, applications of DIMPU, and engagement and impact. So these descriptions, you can read this description and you can use this one if this assessment instrument criteria suitable with your subject, you can use this. And you can suitable with your needs, your student needs, and also your learning needs. And then self-reflection questionnaire. The question are, what did I learn about the relationship between local and national culture? And the second, how did I contribute to the project? And the third, what challenges that I face and how did I overcome them? And peer assessment form, evaluate team members, contributors to the project on 1 until 5 scale based on effort and responsibility. How about the they communicate with others, communications and collaborations, especially in corporations, and how about their creativity and problem solving. And the second, assessment tools. One, formative assessment, we can make maybe some journals, quizzes with the technology platform, and discussions during each stage. In summative assessment, final project evaluations, and also group presentations, yeah, and reflective essays and feedback mechanisms are peer reviews, teacher evaluations, and audience feedback during presentations. And how about challenges and solutions in implementing DIMPO? So we can see from making the DIMPO method work, challenge limited resources, but we have solutions. You use open source GIS tools and community partnerships. GIS, geographic information systems, and the second challenge, time constraints and solutions, break projects into smaller and manageable pieces. And the third, the last one is about challenge in student engagement. The solutions co-create projects with students. So how conclusions and call to actions. We can transforming geography education with the DIMPO method. One, empower students to think critically and act responsibly. And the second, bring relevance to geography through dynamic student and center projects. And the last one, begin integrating the DIMPO method today to create impactful learning experience. And this is the key references for further reading. And together, let's shape informed, active global citizens. Terima kasih. Thank you, Dr. Bayana.
Yes, thank you very much, Sir Dimple. All right, thank you for your insightful sharing. Indeed, bringing PBL into the social science world gives a different kick. Also exploring our learners or exposing our learners in designing PBL projects as primary sources for real world learning. And thank you, sir, for sharing your method called DIMPO, which stands for Deep Analysis, Introspection, Motivation, Project, and Understand Clearly. That was very beautiful. Okay, I think I should also give a meaning to my own name, Peachy. Maybe I can have that one
Thank you, Dr.
later.
Bayana.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. And get well soon. Okay.
Yes, thank you,
All
Dr.
right.
Bayana.
So yeah, all right. So huge congratulations to all our presenters, our speakers. So to show your appreciation, please react with a heart emoji in the chat, or you can just simply hit that heart emoji there. Okay, so thank you very much. But we are not done yet. At this point, let us open the floor for questions. We have now reached the Q&A portion of our webinar. So please use the chat box to submit your questions to our esteemed speakers. Okay, I believe they are very excited as well to know your questions and answer them. Okay, or you can also hit that raise hand icon there and wait to be recognized and mute your microphone, and that's the time you state your question. Okay, so I also ask the assistance of the technical team to facilitate if there are already questions in the chat so far. Okay, we have here from, who is this? Okay, wait. All right, okay, so here's a question from Mashudi. Okay, is DIMPO method can be conducted in English lesson? I think this question is for Mr. Mardimpo, our last speaker. But I think he has an appointment with his doctor, right? Am I right? Is Mr. Dimpo still with us, or he already left? So probably we can just take note of this question, and we will get back to you later, okay? All right, so another one here, thanking all the speakers for the explanations. Okay, here's a question from Amawati. Omawati. Can you advise how we can design project-based learning for two different major? Okay, example, electrical engineering and civil engineering. So this goes to who? Probably the third speaker, Sir Tony, because this is about engineering.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
suppose.
So, yeah, thank you for asking the question, Umawati. Yeah. Okay. So for the project-based learning, for the projects, they have to solve real-life problem, and also the real-life problem will involve the solution from different majors. Uh, I think the electrical engineering and civil engineering also can be combined in the projects. Usually, maybe if we start with a problem, I'm not very sure, but kind of like we have kind of bridge, and the bridge can can be operate automatically with the electrical system, kind of that, and then it can solve a solution, and then the student have to will explore. I don't want to say that they're gonna learn the new things. Yeah, they're gonna learn new things, but we don't teach them, but we provide them opportunity to learn. In STEM up, we create the stations. For example, we have like a group of 4 students, and then they're gonna solve that problem. For example, what I just said. And then there are stations in which they learn about in electrical engineering a bit that related to the project, and also the related to projects. And a group, they can divide the roles. Some of the students may learn from electrical engineering and some may learn from the civil engineering. And then they're gonna combine their understanding in both matters in the solution. That's why they need to work in groups. And then they conduct a solution. And then the mentor also work with experts to provide them with the feedback and reflection on that so they can do it. So we don't really focus on the products, but we focus on how they can combine the understanding of these majors together to conduct a solution. So that's what we usually do in STEM math. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Sir Tony. So in other words, it's really possible to have to merge the two, right? Electrical, for example, and civil engineering. But the most important thing there is we don't teach them because I think Sir Tony is highlighting the self-regulated learning, right, Sir Tony? Okay, so thank you very much. And then we
May I
also,
add, Doc Paina?
yeah, sure. Is that Miss
Okay.
Vida?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. In here, Miss Umawati also asking how to design two different major, but in one project, I think. So I think actually this is my question before, how we try to make it in one lesson, we can teach some subject differently. So if certainly emphasize about self-regulation, they try to make it by themselves to find the learning. Actually, we also as a mentor and a coach in the classroom, as a facilitator, we can guide them based on the project that they make, which part that will be the engineering part, the electrical part, and the civil part. So it come out together. And yes, must they have come up with a prototype, we need to remember that this is the difference between problem-based learning and project-based learning. If we talk about problem-based learning, meaning to say the product can be only an idea, a mind map, or just something that the students drawing out about that. But then in the project-based learning, because we will do inquiry and also hands-on activity on it, we will come out with a prototype. And then the prototype, maybe you will ask, how about in social science? What is the prototype that come up? Should be it should be relating with science and technology. Of course not. The prototype can also be a kind of solution that, for example, for the social science, uh, we have problem about gender, right? Or about LGBTQ, for example. And then the students try to make a platform or a campaigns, and then they will try to build the community on it. So it's a kind of, they use social media to bring up the issue. So it's kind already prototyping the product. So the product not only like prototype machine or in science
Yeah.
thing, but also we can doing it in the social science side. Maybe that's the one that I want to add, Dr. Baina.
Can
Thank you.
I add also a bit?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, for that question, I think it's important that the student or the class should define the shared problem or shared challenge because it's interdisciplinary. Then after that, they can maybe you know, set clear interdisciplinary objectives when it comes to, again, to things coming together and then doing TBL. And that way they can structure their project phases, I think.
Okay, thank you so much for your sharing. All right, so I think we have somebody from the room who would like to state the question. Happy?
Oh, yes. Yes, Miss.
Yeah, go ahead.
May I ask question directly?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, I want to introduce myself. My name is Happy Alfani Mendrova. I'm from Indonesia. I'm in same province with Mr. Dimpu Sihombing, but different district. I'm from Nias Island. So, for the first, I want to ask some questions to the first speaker, because I very interested about the presentation before. So because I am teach in at vocational high school, so my school we have to three majoring in school. First, office management, second, agricultural, and the building property. So, mom, because the first speaker is a lecturer, so I want to ask, maybe, um, do you have any idea how to design the problem-based learning for agricultural majoring or office management? I think that's all my questions. Thank you.
All right, I think that's for Miss Wayu.
Okay. Thank you, Doc Baina. Thank you, Miss Happy, for your question. It's really interesting, you know. So your vocational school about agriculture, but also you have the economic management, correct? Am I correct for that one? What is the name? SMK what?
SMK Negeri 1 Hili Serangka in
So
Nias
it
Regency.
focusing in agriculture.
Yes,
Okay.
agriculture and
So
office management.
yeah, agriculture and office management. It's really interesting. Actually, it's come out with so many idea that one project can be accommodate some learning in the same time, because if you see. You want to start from agriculture first. For example, you start to inspiring your students. You bring them. For this is for my idea, and I like to doing that. You bring them because Nias is nice place, and then you have rice field as well there. You have so many land, you have the gunung, etc., and the beach. So you bring your student outside, or you can bring the outside to classroom, for example, using video, and then you ask them what kind of problem that we facing right now. You can also input some SDG problem, so sustainable development goals problem, in the zero hunger, climate change, etc. I think it will really relate with the agriculture. And then after that, what kind of lesson that you will provide in that time? For example, about taxonomy of the plants or the soil things. And then after that, you break down the idea with the students. They brainstorming what kind of solution that they will give. Of course, you can try to make worksheet extra, and after that, if they come out with some solution, you as the facilitator on it, you can try to check which one that will relate into office management. For example, they come out with idea, we want to emphasize, or we want to help the farmer to get the higher price of rice, because import rice and the one local rice, it's bet different price, and then the local rice usually higher. How to make consumer prefer the higher one to help the farmer than buying the import one. For example, like that, then the office management, in that part, you will encourage students to make how to manage it, how to manage the harvest, and then after that, how to emphasize the economy things. And then also, when, for example, you will, this is the idea that I will do with Tony teams later on. We will try to put some design packaging in the local things. Also, in the packaging, we call it a local farmer, more maybe we put organic, etc. And then fresh, more fresh than import one. So the people we interest to buy in that. And then it can be from agriculture, design, and also the office management, because the students will try to manage if uh if if it become like what call of that, UMKM for the farmer, what they need to manage it like that. I hope that the example of idea can help you, Miss Happy.
Thank you very much, Miss Wida, for your great ideas. All right, so Miss Happy, I hope you are um happy already with the answer of Miss Wayo. Okay, so we have here from Miss Lucia, project-based learning should be implemented well in every lesson in school, but I still get any problem in English lesson. We have to design what's TPE? Could you please suggest details in English lesson, please? So I believe this is for our second speaker, Mr. Jomar Conde.
Okay, so for this question, I think, are you working on designing project-based learning experience for English lesson, correct? For this specific question,
Miss Lucia,
because you mentioned DPE.
can you repeat your question, sir?
Are you working on designing a project-based learning experience for an English lesson? And are some of the students facing challenges?
Actually, I'm an English
Um,
teacher. Actually, I'm an English teacher, and in my school, the English is very low. Because of that, if I want to try to implement a project-based learning, it's very difficult uh, to push them or to get engagement. How to design a project? Because of that, could you please suggest one detailed example for me? Thank you, sir.
so you mean that the students have low English proficiency, but we want to do PBL, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think the very basic thing that you have to do is to have a simplified project or theme and driving questions, because as I said, it, I mean, as I'm discussing right now, it would be hard for you to employ PBL if the medium is in English and then the proficiency of your students not that are not yet in that particular standard. So number one, you may note it down, simplified project theme and driving question. So you can choose a relatable, simple theme For example, my favorite place, what I like to do, and the question must be, it could be straightforward. So in this case, you can guide them, but don't just give them those driving questions. The next one is you have to scaffold. I think um, in this particular situation, you have to have a language support. You have to pre-teach some vocabulary before going into the project, and then you may provide sentence starters to help students structure the ideas. For example, my favorite place, blank, because, blank. So those things would help you. Also, try to employ visual aids. Use diagrams, pictures, videos, just to illustrate, key ideas and vocabulary for the student. And then number three is for you to simplify your objectives. So you may still focus on those four skills, but again, simple learning objectives. For example, say speaking. Use simple short sentences on discussion or presentation. Say maybe listening. Listen to simple instructions or classmates' presentation. So again, simplify your learning objectives. The fourth one is um, you have to project the process with language support. So during the process, you should be there and then trying to support and scaffold certain instructions or parts. And then when it comes to assessment, I think it would be best if you can incorporate formative assessment and summative assessment in some way. Okay. And then you have to um, ensure that the students would create a simplified final product. Not that you are not believing in their capacity, but of course, there's a given timeline, there's a given objective. So, if possible, to simplify the final product, that would be very good. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Conde. So I believe that is the last question that we need to entertain before we have our photo opportunity. So maybe we can have the rest of the questions. We'll just take note of them. And we have the contact details of our speakers, and probably we'll just send it to them and you will get answers. That's for sure. Okay, so thank you so much. So we can have now our photo opportunity. Okay, Wi-Fi time. Maybe we can open our camera, turn on the camera so that we, okay. There. Okay, technical team, just give us a cue.
Okay. Okay, everyone ready? In three, two, and one. Wait. Again, in three, two, and one. Okay, I got it. Okay, I think we're good.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so before we conclude, I think there is a feedback form posted in the chat. So maybe you can fill that out. All right, so it's there so that you can get your e-certificate. So are we okay? Kindly fill out or accomplish the feedback form in the chat.
It applies to us also, right? Ms. Tichi.
There's a request here if we can paste the link of the feedback form in the chat. So we're giving few minutes or perhaps 2 minutes for you to accomplish the form. Okay, so I think it's there already. Okay. So just let me know if we're good. All right, so I'm sure you all have accomplished the evaluation or the feedback form. All right, thank you so much. So before we conclude, I would like to thank our esteemed speakers, of course, Ms. Wayu Widosari, Ms. Jomar Conde, we have Mr. Tony, and we have Mr. Mardimpos Siombing, okay, for their valuable insights and engagement presentations. I would also like to thank all of you for attending this webinar. We hope that this session has provided you with a deep understanding of project-based learning and inspired you to implement this approach in your own educational settings. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have any further questions or would like to discuss this topic in more detail. So thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you so much.